Good afternoon, Abuja. Welcome to an amazing, what I want to say. If I say day, I mean the day is fast spent already. It's 10 minutes after 3? How do you welcome to someone to an amazing day at 10 minutes after 3? Like, you're just starting your day or what? Well, thank you very much for staying with 95.1 Nigeria Info and welcome to Hard Facts. My name is Kimberly Gabriel, the Oracle, the Digital Oracle, OTF, the fellow Chanya One Madam Speaker, and I'll say yes to them all. And I have Mr. Gabriel Spector with me.
Radio's finest.
All right, if you insist. Radio Finest with me on Hard Facts, and we'll take you from now to 4-ish, 7-ish, as we look at quite a number of the big, interesting stories driving conversation in the country and hold you, hopefully, spellbound with some of the very intriguing conversation we'll hold also at the 4 and 5 o'clock hour. So make sure you're part of it. Listen as actively as you can, but we understand that you're working, you're on the road. If you're an e-hailing driver, if you're in the market, you're constantly on the move, you somehow find a way to carry us along and be a part of the conversation, because honestly, without your input and contribution, what's the point of being here? Might as well just go back home and talk under my blanket. Abby? Nah. We have other clients that mandate us to be here also, but it feels good to be back here. All right, let's start off with some of the big stories. And Otedola is giving us a bit of an interesting story from his book. And I think this story held Gabriel Spector. You know, it caught his attention because we were like, oh, we need to take the conversation further. I say further to where when this thing has been going on for a very long time. But Gabriel, over to you. Otedola, the billionaire investor and philanthropist, has got something to say in his book.
Indeed. It's talking about banks using pretty ladies to get deposits from him, or used pretty ladies to get deposits from him, but sent thugs when his business went down. And that first part, really, sending of thugs is preposterous, because why will the bank send thugs to someone? Reminds me of loan sharks and how they send curses. You know, when you're owing them and you're defaulting, even though some of them add hidden charges, but using pretty ladies to get deposits from him, and then in the report, which is taken off the book, the businessman or the business mogul broke into the Nigerian mega business scene with Zenon Petroleum, which grew from selling diesel in drums to owning the largest share of the local market. The report says, as a result of falling forex inflow, the naira was also devalued from 120 naira to dollar to 167 in 2009, presenting Otedola with a double whammy: low diesel price and high dollar liability. In his upcoming book, Making It Big: Lessons from a Life in Business, published here in the country and slated for release sometime during the course of the month, Otedola narrated how the crude oil price, the price of the crude oil crashed, and the devaluation of the naira combined to plunge his business into debt and despair. And I quote here, it says, all told, I lost more than 480 million USD to the plunge in oil prices, $258 million US dollars through the devaluation of the naira, and some other money because of accruing interest, and another 160 million US dollars when the stocks crashed. That's what he wrote in the book, taking the excerpt from there. It further says, it was devastating, like a terrible nightmare, but the nightmare would have been better. Day would break and I would wake up. One moment, I was a darling of the banks who did everything in the world to court me, do business with me, give me loans, take deposits from me. They would send bewitching ladies. That's what he called it. To make their offers more convincing. And now I was waking up to the sight of hefty, barrel-chested men standing menacingly in front of my gate, waiting for the moment I'll step out.
But I don't understand. He was waiting for the pretty ladies to come and bounce him out also when he defaulted on the loan.
Well, the defaulting wasn't his fault.
What was his fault? The business went sideways.
What the economy happened to him?
Well. Tell that to the banks who are also running their business in that hostile economic situation also. That, economy went sideways for him. So send pretty ladies to go and console him and find out exactly when the economy too will take a turn and get our money back.
But
that's how it works. It's a dog-eat-dog world.
But the contrast is too sharp, Kim. You send pretty ladies to someone to court the person to do business with you. Now the person is having financial issues or crisis, and then you send thugs to harass the person just so that you get your money paid. I think it's, the parts where I think it's something that we already know happens. Many people genuinely think that if you are a marketer as a lady, unmarried marketer as a lady, and you work in the banking sector, there's already a stereotype. There's a way they look at them. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest pointers as to perhaps this just might be true. Because now I think we have a deeper problem here of sexual objectification in this sector, not just maybe in the banking sector. But then, do banks really do send ladies?
I think it's not a matter of do they. There was one time it was really a thing with a lot of the banks.
Mm.
You need to be young, you need to be, just
within a certain age.
Tick all the boxes, and they send you out. They believe that people like Otedola will see you and smile a lot wider than you should, and make a lot more deposit than you should, and take on extra loan than they should, if depends on whatever it is they went for. It works. It's a working formula, effective everywhere, any day. But then there's also that concern. I remember some years back, it was a concern that some banks were even giving conditions to ladies, like, you can't get married around this period, or you can't get pregnant. Because there was that concern that even if it wasn't a contract that you signed, it was an unspoken one, that you can't afford to now want to get pregnant within this period because you might lose your job.
Yeah.
It was hanging there. Might be laced with a lot of exaggeration, but there was some substance to it, because we had people who were working in the banks and who felt like, at least I need to give myself a certain period of time in my career before I now think of, properly, even if I settle down to start having a family, because it will impact on my job. They need to look a certain way, but not so much now. We still have young ladies in the bank. I think the strategy itself has shifted, because there was intense conversation around this when it was in the height of it. You're using young lady, objectifying them. I remember some years back, we even had a conversation around this, and then they were talking about, music video. Don't you see what ladies are doing? It shouldn't happen in every sector where you just feel like, send ladies to the men and they'll be forced. And it was working like magic.
It was.
Otedola had to write a book and lament about it. Like, they use Pretty Lady and use, barrel chest statement to come about thing.
It didn't state whether I fell for it.
Is it coming from a place of regret?
Like Solomon.
That will betide me.
Like King Solomon.
Ladies.
Like King Solomon. But maybe we've had all of this conversation before. But it got me thinking, really. At what point was it like this 20 years ago?
It was like this for a while ago. I would not draw it down to 20 years ago. What are we now? Almost 13 years. Yeah, 15, 20 years ago. It was still, particularly when you had this generation banks were coming, they were following over their heads before some of the banks even went under. There was one period during Sanusi time when he was CBN governor. It felt like the height of it. Banks were, falling over themselves to get the youngest and to get to expand their business, their branches. They needed to
there were a lot of takeovers going on.
Yeah, there was just a lot going on. So whatever strategy works, they employ it at that point in time. And then they also understand that, people have the power also to influence either by words, body language or whatever. Such that, like you pointed out, there was also that nasty reputation back then that if a young fine lady is working in a bank, you just believe and she's growing up the ranks that, she's...
That is a big concern that's still lingering right now, because, I do have a lot of friends.
A lot of women are working,
working hard.
In the work.
Yes, working really hard, taking a lot of courses, taking a lot of examinations, certifications.
Wait, you think they will just even go to Otedola because they are fine girls and they just sit in his office and they go, take my money, baby. They would need to put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys think it works with pretty girls. Like, I know they say pretty faces can take you to a certain extent. But I promise you, to break beyond a certain limit, you need to put in the work.
Yeah.
I don't know what the work is, but it goes beyond a lady just being pretty and just ready to, work with, her body and all of that. That you need to really have some bit of intelligence and know how to go about this. That's what I feel. But I know there are a lot of people who want to argue otherwise. If it was that easy, are you people depositing money up and down for kind of find people in the bank? But it's a good thing he wrote a book, though.
Yeah.
And then we're going to see a lot of memoirs being put out. A lot of people telling their stories. A lot of people, it's a way of codifying their own experience also and putting it in a document. Because over time, we've been very good at oral storytelling, which can be corrupted before it gets to the next generation or to a third party. The story don't change. You know, in Nigeria, I tell you one thing. By the time you tell the third person, it gets to the
Chinese
third person.
whisper.
Yeah. The story has changed.
And
that's why sometimes when they say our ancestors, this one, it was a story handed down. Have you heard my mom tell stories? There's some level of exaggeration. You can't tell her, wow. But it is what it is. But if you write a book, it's there. It's handed down. And then you get to see what it is. So I hope that we get to see more of this documented. Tell your story. Tell the story about our culture, our environment, our society. I mean, you'll be watching documentary and reading books about, things that happened in the 13th, 14th century. You can get a lot of backstories about Europe, about Asia, about kingdoms, about Rome. And then you wonder, how did they document some of these things that you could still get it?
Yeah.
So what we get from Africa, that sometimes, you start to feel like...
Yeah. You should write the book someday, Kim.
Who knows? When interesting things happen, like when the pretty man just walks into my place and I have to deposit money. I'm like, well, but is it something pretty much? I don't know. I don't think we're in the height of it. There was one time it fizzled out and people knew that you needed to go.
Yeah, but maybe the act of it fizzled out, but that label, I can tell you for a fact. There's some banks, new generational banks right now. What they do, this trainee program where they capture young people in their early mid-20s, just out of school, train them, and they put them on, amazing salary scale and whatnot. And you have really young ladies in their mid-20s, late 20s, who are already like rising in the ranks. But that label, God help one that already has a good relationship outside of work with a guy, goes on to get married. But when you see certain young ladies who are rising like that and not married yet, which is absolutely fine for whatever. I mean, whatever the person wants to do with his or her marital life, that's okay. But then that label, because the person works in the bank, and now we see reports like this that gives us an insider report or pointer as to what might have been going on. So I just think that we need to step back from, like you said, from that label.
The ladies, go out and win. Forget labels. Go out, win. Get to the top of your career. Do you at the end of the day? Because, we live in a society that is so patriarchal that it finds a way to want to limit women and just feel like, the woman is slipping her way to the top. I remember when that the woman emerged, what's her name, for Zenith Bank? And they're like, oh, Zenith she's so flashy, she's so this. I wonder how she got up there. Would you say the same thing of a man? If he rose to the top of his career, you think it was great. It was hard work and commitment. But then you belittle a woman's effort and just feel like, because she's a bank, she's pretty and all of that, she must have gotten up there in a certain way. It's not just our society, even around the world, women are objectified even in that level, not because they show too much of their body or carry themselves in a certain way. Just because they grow, they want to be limited to saying they got there by
some men see certain women in certain spaces and you wonder, how dare you get
go
here?
Out. If you have a pretty woman in a bank and then she went to you and you decide to deposit money and they're using bouncer to come and whose fault is it?
It may have fizzled out in the banking sector. Where the problem is now is in the real estate sector.
Have you bought land that bouncers are coming for? All right, but whatever. It's an interesting one, and there's a book to tell more of the story. Let's go on a quick break. Okay, I've been told there's no break. Let's continue the conversation. But what's this then? No, all right then. So, Abuja, we're still looking at the big three. Let's go on to the next story. What's the next one?
All right, looking at some reaction here. Call for rescue, SOS, flood again, and it's just laughable. Not this flood situation. What may seem as a natural disaster, must it always be a disaster year in, year out? Preparation for the rainy season. NIMET sends reports, LASEMA or emergency agencies across the country send reports in preparation for the rainy season. And it just looks like, I don't know if it is just a docile mentality. We wait until the event happens before we begin to cry out. Our gullies, our gutters, our canals, how do we prepare for the flood, for the rainy season, so that because this happens every single year?
You think there's something we can actually do to avert flooding from happening?
Or maybe some parts of the country know, like some parts of Lagos Island, where they've refused to allow the water to
You're
breathe.
doing land filling.
And they've built on everywhere.
In certain ways.
But
Mother Nature would be Mother Nature. It will rain.
Mm-hmm.
Water level will go up.
Mm-hmm.
It will find a way to be there until it recedes.
Yeah.
And dry out.
Yeah.
Lagos will always have flooding situation, just because of where it's situated, the population, the planning, and all of it. So no matter if residents cry from today, government come and help us, it will flood. There was a major flood in Spain, China. I mean, you can have all of these things happening. But what it means is that the planning for the next 5, 10, 15 years should be deliberate in a place. Lagos is already too congested. I'm even concerned about places that you're still building and you're still expanding. Places like the federal capital is already packed, and then you're having major flooding in certain areas. You'll be thinking, all right, shouldn't we also be one step ahead to see how we can reduce the impact of it? For Lagos, I've seen video, Lekki, one of the most expensive real estate, whatever, is found in that area, Banana Island, and it still floods.
Yeah.
So it means they did not plan, they did not have gully, they filled it in that area, and water still comes and raises their bed.
The one you mentioned, they have their own water resources, or should I say, water channeling plan. I learned that they have a massive drainage system in that particular estate you mentioned.
Does it still flood?
It still floods. It still floods. But you said something, Kim. You said if every year Mother Nature would always keep. What happens to planning ahead? Even the ones in Abuja here, where we know that these areas are prone to flood. I thought we have a master plan. In that master plan of the city, is there no place that captures the fact that this place or this part of the city is prone to flooding? What happens to ensuring that we don't have so much residential buildings in such? Because every year we don't take into cognizance the fact that there's lots of damage of properties. People who are working really hard perhaps took loans to build this, to build the structure, to get this business running, to buy a vehicle. And now rain comes, damages the vehicle. I managed the car center some time ago, and I know how many vehicles that were literally condemned or the engines got knocked because the engine drank water, literally. So we are talking about many economic, losses as a result of this flooding issue. Is it now? You said that maybe the people may not be able to do so much about this flooding. What then are we doing in the next 10, 15, 20 years? We mentioned Spain, we mentioned the US, we mentioned.
I'm saying that you get to see major flooding happening in some of these countries. The water comes after a while, it goes. You already see even places where they have proper planning.
Mm-hmm.
But the one with Lagos is constantly happening because Lagos is already choked.
Mm-hmm.
Planning is already very poor.
Mm-hmm.
There on some level, there's very little you can do until you start to decongest and do some very deep investments to see how you channel water out.
Decongest, like chase people from Lagos. Like, okay, please, you need to start leaving.
You have the ocean. If you get into Lagos, it's already humid. You just know that one drop of water drops on the ground, Lagos will start to float.
But some parts of that state are literally submerging already, are going under. Literal, like you can see.
Many people. Very.
You can see some buildings literally going under. I mean, I'm not an engineer.
You find a place where you even tell people don't build here because it's flooding. Omonile will come and point there. builded, the rock came up, and the ancestors have did that.
And then in the name of I want to be a landowner,
Exactly.
you go and buy
you
land.
build it there. Then when rain come, and then you wake up one day and you turn to waterbed. Your padded bed is floating. You're like, government, come and help us. Government, come and help us.
It's sad.
It's poor
sad.
planning, and I think it's a collective. So we need to have.
It's sad.
The government and relevant bodies who are going to be very strict about what is done and how people build and how people dispose of their refuse and all of that. It just has to be a collective. But it would not stop the flooding. It's just that perhaps it will not stay too long before the water finds its way out. But the way Lagos is. They're part of Lagos that is inevitable. It's inevitable.
It's sad, really. It's sad. Videos going viral on X.
But what we should be looking at is the interventions that come. I mean, there'll be that plan that, okay, this thing, there's tendency for it to happen all of that. What do we do afterwards in terms of response to see that if we have more than usual rain, rescue missions, intervention, insurance also to cover some of these things. To understand, I live in Lagos, so I live in a flood-prone area. Let me insure my car. Let me insure my house.
Many people don't
Let me
even
insure this, so that if it does happen, insurance will cover.
If you take a poll now, many people have what's the word now? Comprehensive insurance on their car.
That's the thing now.
You have less than 10%.
Do
you have comprehensive insurance, Kim? I'm sorry for putting you on the spot.
I have my insurance is very, very comprehensive.
Really?
Totally. I understand. I promise you.
Kim, you said I understand. You now said I promise you. Which
Remember my sister who went to the US and got a car. They were telling her to do insurance. Which insurance when blood of Jesus did? the man was stunned. He looked her in the eye.
She said it.
She told him. Our pastor would have been proud of her, but that man was so disappointed. And like, what did you say, ma'am?
The guy was dazed.
The guy has never heard that level to him of absolute stupidity before, but she knew what she was talking about. She knew what she was talking about, and all.
But really, if you stay in a flood-prone area, you should consider.
But she had to do the insurance.
Of course, you would have to.
None of that in that environment.
Of course, you would have to.
But here, we're good. So
there was a vehicle that came in. That came in. It was an SUV, really pretty recent SUV.
Yeah.
Drank a lot of water, and then the insurance company came. The guy laid claims, and they paid. They paid for it. I think he had to pay, made a contributory sum of about 10% of the sum. It was a lot of money, but it was a lot of relief on the man, really, and it was good. It was good to go. So I think we should really, because I'm tired of the same old story year in, year out, and it looks like do we snooze during the dry season and just wait? It's like fire brigade approach to this issue of flooding. We know the rain is going to come. We know it's going to rain. We know that we don't have so much. We're not doing so much in terms of the gullies, clearing them out. Even when they are being constructed, we are the same ones that create markets, selling around these gutters, dump corn peels inside of them, all sorts that we get to do. So we need to do much more in terms of our response, in terms of our contribution to this infrastructure, and stop incurring these kind of losses. Really.
Insurance. Insure your vehicle if you stay in Lagos. But the government can't come through.
Even some parts of Abuja too.
Yeah, true. All right, people, it's the big three. We're just looking at some of the light-hearted stories. Sadly, I guess couldn't join us for today, but yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed for tomorrow, we'll have Majid for the midweek special of the show. Let's touch on politics. And as much as the governor of Anambra State cannot for the life of him understand how a politician is going to promise 1 year, like, how do you even say you're going to do one term? What can you deliver on one term? You think we're children? But Peter Obi is standing on business here saying, well, it's possible. It's doable. That's the commitment I made to the coalition when I presented it for one term. And it's interesting. I know that the debate has been going on for a while as to if it's possible for a politician to make a commitment of one term and leave. He's not telling you he's not going to come back in the near future, but he's saying for now, one term and then give way, and then perhaps maybe like Donald Trump do a return, maybe at the end of the day. Anambra State Governor, Governor Soludo, seemed to think that it's impossible to make such a pledge to serve for a 4-year tenure of one term only, and they're not buying it, and doesn't think that PWB is being truthful. So he used all kinds of words to share his opinion. We're going to play a bit of the clip, but it's a story we're putting on the table as we open up the phone lines, and this war of words over 2027 election. Anambra State Governor does not agree you can do one. But my issue is, what's your grouse really to saying it's not impossible to do one term or to deliver much on one term, or you think it's a bit two-faced to say one term? I was listening to him and trying to understand what the issue is. If he was just upset at the fact that a politician would dare tell Nigerians that he's just comfortable with one term for now and angry at just the thought of it, or just trying to tell Nigerians, see, don't believe that man, he tell you one term, like reading between the lines. And it's not going to be that at the end of the day. So I'm a little curious as to what your thought is. Have you thought about the one term that PWB? And then we're talking about PWB. We don't even know the party. Coalition is saying we'll leave it open. If Atiku is interested, if PWB is interested, whoever gets it at the end of the day. On the other hand, we're getting spokespersons who are saying, oh, if PWB chooses to be vice president to Atiku, it's the end of his, political career. It will not get him much vote. So it just feels a little disjointed and haphazard what the narrative is out there. Are we to go with the one term, consistent one, meaning that either ADC or Labour Party would give Peter Obi, or perhaps he would emerge, because I want to believe they would have a proper democratic process for whoever emerges? Or should we go with the distraction of it might be vice president to Atiku, because you don't have that in the space? So it just feels there's just so much that you have to process or to distract you from certain things about 2027 altogether. And I'm a little interested in knowing your interpretation to it. So feel free to join our conversation. Call us up on 0700 951 0000 or 0809 5974 869, and let us get your take. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Kimberly.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Spectre.
Good afternoon.
Your Spectre. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
How Bakar calling from Gogolada?
Go ahead, sir.
We may witness flooding this time around if care is not taken in Gogolada. The way people are abusing the drainages, most especially the highway. People who are doing trading and businesses on both sides of the highway, they have no dumping ground for refuse. It's the middle of the highway where they dump. It is ugly sight, and nobody is regulating anything. It's very unfortunate. And concerning it is maybe the conviction of Peter Obi to serve one term. It's possible. It's a matter of personal integrity, about credibility. It's possible. It's not how long you rule or govern people. It's the impact you make. We see Nelson Mandela. We even see some people who even turn down the offer of serving. There are people like Mahatma Gandhi of India. He championed the independent struggle of his country, and people decided to reward him with prime ministership portfolio. He turned it down. So if somebody says he can serve Nigeria with minimum of 4 years, it's possible. It's about touching life. You can deliver a lot if you have your blueprint already, like
mapped out.
Donald Trump, you mentioned him.
Yeah.
Immediately we came to power, we started making appointments. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, Abubakar agrees with it, that you can actually make that promise, commit to it, and deliver to a certain degree in 4 years. I think we've been sold this whole idea that it must be 2 terms, and that's why you hear someone like, let him finish his tenure.
Yeah.
He got to vote for 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's good enough, he might return. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Kimberly Gabriel.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Yes, my name is Alex. I'm calling from Wuye.
Go ahead, Alex.
Yes, I think I just see the jealousy from Governor of Anambra State. I don't know why somebody will be taking pardon for someone's headache. He told you I'm going to do 4 years, and he told you how he's going to go about it. And we are trying to disagree with him. You are not the one that is going to prepare. So I think he's being envious to be, that's number one. 2, equally because of his ambition to come back as maybe in one government, since many people believe that the federal government will give you security and possibly rig election for you. So he is trying to play a good person so as to get the favor from the federal government. There are reasons for us to know that 4 years is enough for somebody that knows what he's doing. I use Burkina Faso military junta. What he's doing in less than 2 years. Look at Governor Oki in Abia State. Look at Mba, that people thought that he didn't even win. That he didn't win the election. If you know what you're doing,
all right,
policy statement alone is enough for you to set a roadmap. Like subsidy is gone. If you put subsidy is back with other things that will make sure that the economy is stabilized.
All right, sir. All right.
Thank you, Kimberly Gabriel.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate.
Hello.
Good afternoon, King.
Good afternoon.
The Oracle.
I greet you.
And good afternoon to Gabriel.
Good afternoon.
Gabriel. This is Tyra.
Welcome, Tyra.
Thank you. For me, King, in 2023, the same thing happened from Soludo. Not even only from Soludo, but what was his name? What is that? Reverend Father Mbaka.
Oh.
It was the same thing. And at the end of the day, like I said, I know that when they sue and they don't show their love anyhow like the other tribes, but the truth be told, Governor Soludo should mind his business, and Governor Anambra State, where there's a lot of insecurity, let him face what he's facing in. He said, leave another man own, face your own, leave another man to. I think I had a plan for this one station. So make him face your own and leave Odi alone. For me, it's envy. He has shown it before, and he's still showing it, but nothing will change. Like I said before, and I will say it again. 2 people sitting in a room brought something positive. Even though the first become third, but he brought something positive. And nobody's going to deny that.
All right.
The only problem we have is INEC.
All right.
After INEC, if you can take off INEC in 2027, it will happen. It will happen before it will happen again.
All right.
Again.
Tyra, thank you very much. You've made your point. Hello.
Hello?
You're welcome.
Hello?
We can hear you, so
Hello?
go ahead. Okay, apparently you can hear us, Gabriel.
Yes, hello.
Yes, hello. Hello?
Yes,
Hello,
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yeah, my name is KGB.
All right, KGB.
Yeah, people are doing fine and continue to be doing fine. On Soludo's talk, you see, Igbos are the architect of their problem, so to say. I told you Soludo now, we know some of them. And no problem. If God keep all of us alive. All that thing they thought that we not actualize, in their lifetime it will be actualized and it will end them up. You see, Soludo, as lousy as he is, he's doing
Hello.
Yes.
We're talking about the executive governor of a state. you should not use certain words. To describe him as being lousy is unacceptable.
Governor of the state, yes, and he's a man.
I am aware of that, but we're saying on the platform you're not going to refer to him as being what you said. You can actually use polite words to put your point across. No, sir. I would not leave it. And I'm telling you that you can make your point across and not use certain words to describe him. You can share your own opinion, but no disrespect or insultive words to his person. And to refer to him as lousy does not sound polite at all.
Hello.
Hello, Kim.
Yes, you're welcome.
And Gabriel.
Welcome.
My name is Chinedu.
All right, Chinedu, go on.
So this is my governor. Kim, one day I will become this executive to have this protection so that people will not be returning.
It does have immunity.
No, you are right. I know you are right. You see, Soludo, it's funny. You know, election is coming up in Anambra. The only thing protecting Soludo is that party ABGA that he's running under. I don't know those who managed to bring him into that party. You know, he has run from party to party.